Capricorn Collective, how are you doing? Let's see what's going on with your divine union. So I got about a minute and a half in before, and then I had to restart. But I did pull the Fool, and I was getting that theatrical show Stomp, where they use household items and things to create music. So you could be learning to play an instrument, you could be a musician, something with the theater, something with performance art. And the Fool here could be dealing with Aries, Aquarius, right? We have the Six of Swords, which is that moving to a new direction, and this takes the choice. So this is that sort of cardinal energy with the air there. So we've got a lot of masculine energy coming in. You could be the masculine or dealing with the masculine, right? It's one or the other, so it's not like that's not some sort of heavy intuition I'm using there. And then the King of Wands. So again, fire sign, could be an Aries. With the King of Wands and the Fool, it's very much Emperor energy though, right? So if you're not dealing with an Aries, you're dealing with that energy. And disconnected. You could be in separation. I'm watching Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, and anyway, so that's why I paused it, and now the speaker is disconnected. But I just paused it after they are at the Buckleberry Ferry or Huckleberry Ferry. I think it's Buckleberry, but also Val Kilmer is a Capricorn, yes. And maybe you're getting into acting or something, right? With the performance art as well. But he plays, I could be your Huckleberry. Well, he says, I'm your Huckleberry. Let's get accurate here when we're quoting the great Val Kilmer. But he also plays Jim Morrison in The Doors. So yeah, there's poetry, slam poetry. You could be, you could just be doing karaoke. You could just be going out with friends for that. And that could be where you meet your person. We have the Hanged Man here with the Fool. So there's a pause before the leap. There's a hesitation before the leap of faith. We have the Five of Cups clarifying the King of Wands and the King of Cups at the bottom of the deck. So you could be dealing with a Pisces or a water sign, but we have the Hanged Man here. Could be dealing with a mutable sign as well, because the Hanged Man is very much that mutable energy, which if you are in your cardinal energy and they are in their mutable energy, that can be quite frustrating because it takes a decision and discernment. Mutable energy is discernment, fixed energy is the discipline, and cardinal energy is the decision, right? So you make a decision, and that's the leap that it takes. You make a decision to take that leap of faith, right? And so you could be dealing with some sort of frustration with this person because they could be in their emotions, or flip it if you feel like you're the one that's in your emotions. But it does feel like the masculine could be waiting for the feminine to make a choice, right? Maybe your first date is going to be to go see a show or something, a theater show or a performance, a live performance of some kind. And so they could be, the masculine could be in their mutable energy, and you as a cardinal sign, even though you are earth, which is feminine and grounded, your cardinal energy, because you waited so long for this individual, maybe not this particular individual, but for this connection, there's an anticipatory drive here, like you want this to come together. Right now, over me, so yeah, they could be, the masculine could be trying to decide what they want to do, what they want to ask the feminine to do for the first date. Excuse me. And the feminine could be like, hurry up. If you are the feminine, you could be wanting them to hurry up. With the King of Wands, to clarify with the Five of Cups, this is somebody who took on a lot of conditional love as a child, right? This could be you, this could be them. Again, with the King of Wands, that's fire. Fire is cardinal. Cardinal is fire. Tomato, tomato. There's some mirroring going on here too. So this is going to be a challenge for both of you, for your shadow aspects to
power off.
To power off. To remember your self-worth that you've worked for, but nothing triggers shadow work and will test your process of elevation like a divine union or a twin flame, right? All divine unions are twin flames, but not all twin flames come into divine union. It depends on how the individuals react to or don't react to the trigger, the tower moment of them coming together in the 3D. So you guys may have come together and have needed to kind of, one of you or both of you, it could be mutual, where you both, because you're mirroring so heavily here, that you could have both gone into kind of hermit mode. Maybe you discussed this, maybe you had this conversation and it was very open, like, this is what I have to offer, this is where I'm at, I still need some time. Maybe that was discussed. And so you could be breaking that silence, or the masculine could be breaking the silence. But when a child is conditionally loved like this, in the Five of Cups, it's very much like this person has the power, right? Whoever's doing the abuse, the neglect, they're the ones with the power. They're that demon that whispers in your ear into adulthood and tells you you're not worthy of this, you're too much, you're not enough, right? And here, this child is like, I'm not listening, I'm not listening. And so this Five of Cups usually feels really heavy, but this feels like this is in the past. There will be a test there. That's what the divine union, it does. You know, it forges us, because you're an emperor and an empress, right? That's when the divine union happens, is when the divine timing is when the individuals have become the magician, the emperor, and the empress, right? Because they need to be divine alchemists of their own elements. That's what the magician does. They are the alchemists of their four elements, which taps them into the fifth element. So you could, my space here is really constricting. So I feel like, let me pull one on that, because I feel like there's, like, you're going to be okay with this. You may have a moment and you may have to go rest or contemplate, but I feel like the communication is going to be very open, right? If they ask you out, or if you're the one doing the asking, right? Whomever asks whomever. I feel like the masculine is going to ask the feminine out on a romantic date, an interaction that's going to maybe step you out of a friendship or out of, bring you out of that silence that you guys have been in, that waiting period of doing the work. So there is a weight to it for the masculine, because they know they need to come correct, because I feel that you guys have discussed something. There was a discussion that happened that that work still needed to be done, and that you wanted to make sure that you had the right stuff to offer the other, because the love there was unconditional, and you recognized it because it was not familiar. It was something completely different from what you were used to growing up, and so it was like an immediate recognition. And if you haven't experienced this, this is what's coming in, right? You're going to have this immediate recognition with this person that this is unlike anything that you've experienced, and for that reason, you want to treat it unlike anything you've ever treated before. It sounded strange coming out, but so yeah, they could be, practicing in the mirror. They could be sort of getting their words right. They could be typing, a text out or a message or an email, depending on how formal. They could be writing a letter. Check yes or no, George Strait. Check yes. He's a Taurus. He's my birthday twin, actually. So you could, maybe you're dealing with a birthday twin. You're definitely dealing with a twin flame, but something with twins, with the mirroring, they could feel very much like your other half, or you could both be Capricorns, right? Or maybe you have a twin moon sign or rising sign. Something in your chart is very connected, right? Energetically. So we have the Hangman to clarify. The Fool does tell me there is a waiting, right? Somebody's biding their time. Somebody's making sure, I wanted to say biting their tongue. They're making sure that what they write out, what they ask, how they word it, is correct. And that it's not too aggressive, that it's not too withholding, it's not too indecisive, it's not too mutable, it's more cardinal, right? So it's like, if you are the feminine dealing with a masculine water sign or Pisces, then, right, again, very much like, not all water signs are Pisces, but all Pisces are water signs. There's kind of like this, terminology. It's like, you don't want this, somebody does not want this to be very generalized. They want it to be very specific, very direct. So if they are in a very opposing or mirrored sign to you, they could be your polar sign, right? Which is Cancer. So you could be dealing with a Cancer, but you could have a Cancer moon. But there is like they want to make sure that they're coming in your energy. If they're in that, which Cancers can be kind of like that with the moon energy. They can be very much, which they share with Pisces. So again, there is that polarity. There is that sort of, if they're a masculine in that feminine water energy, it's like they're figuring out how to activate the masculine aspect of that, their modality, because within mutable modality, there's air and water, and within cardinal and fixed, it's fire and earth. But mutable has the discernment of the two between water and air. And so it's like they could be shifting into their masculine aspect to make sure that they come in directly. They know they have to pursue the feminine, because masculine pursues, feminine receives, right? So if they're a masculine that's been in their, too much in their feminine energy, right? Maybe they were reluctant to get into their water energy or into their feminine energy for a long time, because or maybe they were held up in it, one or the other, right? Because we either react or retract, right? It's like fight or flight, right? This person, because of what they endured growing up, they could have been very avoidant of their feelings, or they could have dove into them and been sort of like wounded warrior and just heavy in their emotions. Either way, they were not balanced. They were not in a central focus point. They were either running from them, or they were just like sitting and stewing in them. And so it's like they're coming into a more masculine energy to come and pursue the feminine, because they know that's what it's going to take, and they know they have it in them, right? Because they are not listening to that demonic voice. They're not listening to the naysayers. There could be hate around this. There typically is when it comes to a twin flame or a divine union. There's going to be a lot of people who don't want, and a lot of energy that's going to be like, oh no, they're getting close to that divine union. We better act up, right? We better try and deter them from the path. We don't want them to get to full power, right? We don't want them to get to their fullest strength, because that would be a threat, right? That would be a threat in the spiritual warfare that's going on, right? Okay, so we're moving into air energy. So yeah, they could be catching their breath. They could be balancing their thoughts, making sure that they're being discerning about what thoughts are theirs, what feelings are theirs, and what was imposed upon them, what was put upon them from childhood and past lovers. And those who just were like clones of the energy that they received. It was a very familiar cycle. That's what the divine union is. So you're breaking the cycle to come together. So this person knows that. This person knows that that's what it's going to take. And they're coming into their swords energy. They're coming into come and rescue the feminine. All right. Now, if you are the feminine, or you are masculine dealing with a feminine who is in a relationship, do not pursue somebody who is attached. Because if you pursue someone who's attached, you are setting yourself up for unrequited love, right? Because somebody cannot wholly love you if they do not wholly love themselves, and they cannot wholly love themselves if they're giving energy to somebody that they don't actually love, that they are unsure about, that they are conditional with, right? So if you're pursuing someone who's being conditional with themselves and somebody else, then that's what you're going to attract. So there's a little note there for somebody. But I feel we're going to shift out of that, because divine union is of highest vibration. So we're not going to feed into that too much. But I feel like if you did catch, if you were here long enough to catch that message, maybe that's the sign that you needed to like, do not pursue attached connections, right? Or you're going to be in a third party situation, and that's just going to feed into this, I'm not worthy, and you deserve better than that, period. So we're going to get away from that, because I fucking hate that. So yeah, if you are struggling with that, I did a whole video on why you should be single for a year before coming into union, according to tarot. And so it talks about going through each of the major arcana with yourself, right? The first year of any relationship is the hardest, they say, and many of us have never even spent that year with ourselves to go through those struggles alone, to even know who we are, like who are we living with in this house? Who are we living? Who's our roommate? Who's our lifelong roommate, right? What are their idiosyncrasies? What are their shadows? What is what are their lower vibrational tendencies? Are they messy? Do they not clean up after themselves? Do they, are they reciprocal? We need to find that out. We need to do that shadow work within for at least, I would say at least a year. That makes the most sense, because it gives you a full cycle. It gives you a full cycle to evaluate yourself like you would a business, right? Quarterly. You guys are the workaholics of the zodiac, so this might resonate with somebody very, very specifically. But when you invest in a company, you need to make sure that you do a quarterly review, right? Sometimes you do a bi-quarterly review, sometimes you do an annual review. But when you're just starting a company, you need to make sure, and you're investing in something, you want to make sure that you see the profits, see the returns of every single quarter, because it's going to be different for the different seasons of the year. Just like many of us, children of chaos and cycle breakers, we deal with that bipolarity, right? As terrestrial beings, fixed energy, earth energy, you're an earth sign. So dealing with that earth sign, the shadow, the shadow illness, mental illness or disorder, or dis-ease of the mind for earth energy, for fixed energy, right, is bipolarity, right? So if you're in extremes, maybe you deal with like seasonal depression. If you are just disconnecting from people in your life, friends, family, lower vibrational tendencies in yourself, you're just now sober, right? When you go through A, when you go through NA, they recommend that you stay single for a year. There's a reason for that, right? Because you need to give yourself that full, I keep getting stuck on the full, like the full and the full moon. You need to give yourself all of those cycles, right? The 12 signs, so that you can go through your own planets. You can kind of explore yourself and all of your shadows. You can go through all of your chakras. You can make sure that you are tapping into all of your own frequencies and leveling each one of them up. You know, and if you've disconnected from family members and you haven't been single through a holiday season, and I mean single, not attached, not looking, not pursuing, not chasing, not putting yourself out there to be chased. You were just in a very null hermit mode, right? A fellow earth sign of yours, which I feel is like the very first. You can do all of them in whatever sequence works for you, but I feel like the hermit is the most crucial to the starting point of being single, is like going in and doing that self-inventory, that self-analysis, and like reviewing and observing, right? And that's Mercurial energy, Virgo, Gemini, right? If you want the lovers, which is Gemini, you want that 2 of Cups, you want that union, then you need to make sure that you are in your Mercurial energy, right? Which is throat chakra. It's making sure that you are speaking your truth, right? You're aligned with your truth, which is divine, like making sure that you're on your divine path. It's making sure that you are your head and your heart, right? Because they're mutable signs. It's that mutable energy. So maybe you, in your cardinal energy, are rushing this mutable energy, and this mutable energy has it right. Like this, they've got it more balanced, because it's like they're doing their own thing. They know what they're doing. They're the magician, right? You guys are mirroring each other so much, so it's like this could be either one of you. I mean, general readings can always be one or the other, both or neither. So, you know, take what you will. But yeah, I do feel like you have to test yourself. You need to temper yourself, temper your passions, temper that heat and that cardinal energy, so that you're not rushing your person. Nobody likes to be rushed, so don't rush your person. And making sure that you're doing things, you're waiting until the time is right. You're biding your time, right? So if you feel impatient, like your person's not coming in, you're not seeing something, go back through the steps. Just like you would if you were going through a recovery program, because that's what a cycle break is. You're recovering from an addiction, from a cycle, from an attachment. That's what addictions are. They're just attachments. It's your chakra. It's the root chakra. It's Saturn. So it's all about releasing and allowing yourself to let go and let God, right? Whatever God means to you. I know you guys are the devil, but you were an angel first. So, if religious or if religious connotations or nomenclature, that's the word I'm looking for. If religious nomenclature bothers you, then get over it. Just change the words, change the wording around, change the language. That's the language barrier, the throat chakra that's coming into a place of mercurial, mutable energy where you are head and heart is knowing your love language, and you don't discover that if you don't spend time with yourself and do that self-analysis, right? So if there's any attachments, those need to be obliterated, right? The swords have to come in and speak truth. They need to be direct. Because if you have too many swords, then you get into the 8 and the 9. It's anxiety, depression, overanalyzing, sleepless nights. That's very imbalanced, right? So you want to come in correct with yourself and be honest with yourself. Am I ready for this connection? And do I want to pursue somebody who is unable to reciprocate? The answer is no. And if it's not no, there's work to be done. Okay. So the Knight of Swords is, again, that's the savior coming in. But you have to save yourself first. That tangent was important for somebody, because I feel like somebody is trying to rush this and the timing has to be just right. If you want the 6, which is the number of love, it's the number of soulmate balance. It's also the number of self-love, right? You have to mirror yourself with that 3. If you're not mirroring and reflecting on yourself, doing affirmations, making sure that you are speaking correctly to yourself, thinking correctly about yourself and your reality, then those swords become lies, right? So we have the 3 of Cups, which is celebratory energy, right? Along the lines of that attachment, if you're still connected to even friendships, right? Because like attracts like, birds of a feather, all of that is true. You are the Native American zodiac for Capricorn is the snow goose. So yeah, maybe you are dealing with like you're still following a crowd that's not on your divine path, or something with the internet, with your social media followers, right? Curating your fellowship, right? The fellowship of the ring. But yeah, you want that ring, ring-a-ling-a-ding-ding, then you want to make sure, you need to make sure, right? I'm not trying to be bossy here, but I'm gonna do it anyway. But it's essential. I mean, that's energy. That's the divine path. It's not up for debate whether this is something. You don't have to do it. Free will. You can keep doing whatever you're doing. You can keep pursuing fruitless connections. You can keep hanging out with lowlifes at the bar and kicking back shots and trying to find fulfillment there. But you're not going to find fulfillment if you're worshiping false idols, right? So you need to worship yourself, self-love, know yourself, know thyself, because God is you, right? God and the devil are within you. You're an angel and a demon at the same time. The duality of all creative energy, masculine and feminine energy, and all destructive energy. There's masculine and feminine in everything. If you have not balanced your mutable energy, your masculine and feminine energy, because you haven't been in a relationship with yourself long enough to be the divine couple within, then that's what you're going to attract. You're going to attract someone else who doesn't know what the hell they're doing. So, I don't know why I'm feeling so frustrated. But also, if you are feeling like you want to rush this person, and you're 29 on the clock there, if you do feel like you want to, which is 11, if you are feeling like you want to rush somebody, because maybe you've done this work and you're like, I've done it, I've figured it out, they should be able to figure it out. How conditional is that? You know, don't be rude. But you want to make sure that your person has time to do it on their terms, so that they're doing it for themselves, so that they're healing themselves correctly. And maybe they take longer than a year, right? Maybe you did it in 6 months, good for you. Maybe you did it, you know, maybe you feel that completeness, but they are not there yet. And you want them to be there, right? So you want to give them the grace that maybe you didn't receive, and you had to, which if you're rushing somebody, by the way, and you think that you did it in 6 months, you didn't do it in 6 months. You still have 6 months to go, at least. Because if you haven't gotten to the place of giving yourself grace, you're not going to be able to give it to somebody else, right? So, there. I don't know why I'm feeling so grumpy with you guys, but you could be feeling grumpy with yourself. They could be feeling you trying to rush them, and they could be not wanting to be rushed, right? If you are dealing with a fixed sign, you don't want to rush a fixed sign. I mean, you don't want to rush anybody. If you rush a mutable sign, you're just going to make them more indecisive. You're just going to freak them out, right? Because they need a lot of patience. If you're dealing with a Pisces, it's like a fish. Have you ever tried like grabbing a fish out of the water? You know, maybe you can, good for you, whatever. I feel like you're like, well, I could do it. Like there's a little bit of like a cockiness, a little bit of like cocky rebellion going on here on somebody's part. So you know if that's you. If it's not, then you know, you don't want to force your person, and you don't want to force your person, because you're going to be giving them conditional love. And if that's what they have worked really hard to get out of their head and out of their space, then they're going to be like extra rebellious towards you. They're going to take twice as long if you rush them. But yeah, you rush a fixed sign, they're going to just dig their heels deeper in the ground. So that's, again, watching your words, right? Because maybe there's a temptation to send a message that's like, are you ever gonna ask me out? Or what's going on here? Are you done? Like, are we ready to do this? Or how do you feel? Or anything. Like if you rush this person, if you put pressure on your best friend outside of yourself, this is the best friend that you're ever going to have. You know, that's, why would you're not a very good friend if you're going to do that to them, right? And if you're feeling rushed by somebody, then they may not be your person. You could be holding out thinking they're your twin flame, but karmics look exactly like twin flames until it comes time for the divine time, and then the clock just keeps on ticking, or it just stops. It just suddenly stops. What was that? The drop, the fall, the drop. I'm thinking the Fool and the Fall. But the movie The Drop with, you're dealing with a Virgo, Tom Hardy is a Virgo, where there's a robbery and he sees the watch of one of the robbers on his wrist. Also, people in the medical industry, you could be in the medical industry somehow, or your person could. That is how they usually put their watches, right? So that they can take a pulse and they can read vitals and look at their wrist and not, you know, have their wrist like this. But I don't know why his is that facing that way, but yeah, his is facing on the inside, and Tom Hardy notes that it's, I wish I could remember what time it stopped at, but it's stopped. Maybe look into that, and maybe there's something with that time. Maybe there's a sign for you in there, some kind of synchronicity. But yeah, if you try to rush a Virgo, they're the hermit. You're gonna push them right back in their hole, right? Like Paxitani Phil. You don't want to. Yeah, nobody needs to be rushed. So if that's the energy you're in, which I am getting that for somebody, yeah, that's how rude. Family Matters, Full House, the Fool. Maybe something with the full moon. because we are coming up on the new moon, and there's a lack of clarity with the new moon because the new moon is dark. But the new moon is all about releasing, right? So the day before the new moon, if you want to do any kind of like ceremonies, maybe burning old photos, letters, you know, doing a digital cleanse, like cleaning all your followers up. Like if you want to do any of that stuff, it's really good to do that before the new moon. So that way there's that release of the new moon, and you can just feel that silence, right? It's like breathing. It's like doing breath work with swords. It's how you balance yourself with that box breathing, right? You inhale, that is like the waxing moon. It's that build up, and then there's the full moon. Most people are, I mean, lunatics, but they feel okay if they're holding their breath, but they have a breath in, right? At the top of an inhale, they're usually like, okay, I got air. There's no, I'm not dead. I'm not dying. It's all okay, right? You take a deep breath before you go underwater, right? You take that in, and then you're like, okay, I've got everything I need here, right? So if you've built up any kind of clutter, if you've got into any like hoarding habits, over consumption of anything, right? Eating, drinking, I was gonna say reading, writing, arithmetic, which arithmetic and words and writing and all of that, like the letters, your inbox could be very full. You could be, your mailbox could be full, right? Metaphorically or literally, you could just be dealing with a lot of I just realized my bedroom window is open. I don't know if my neighbors are out there. They could be like, so you could have somebody that's eavesdropping. I just thought with the mailbox being full, like somebody could be trying to reach you. Could be somebody from your past. I don't know why I'm whispering now. My window is shut. But anyway, yeah, I feel kind of like bashful about that. But with the mailbox being full, with the words, you could be over explaining yourself. You could be like communicating with people, like giving your words, giving your spell work, giving your magic, right? Words are magic and very powerful for manifesting and for attracting what you desire. And so just watching your words and making sure that you're not giving that power to anybody who doesn't deserve it. Someone who's trying to rush you, somebody who is in that lower vibration. If you're giving your energy to them, then it's going to completely drain you, right? So at the top of an inhale, you might feel great because you have this full lungs and all of that. But there comes a point where that air is not, it doesn't just keep cycling within you. You have to expel it. You have to release it. So with that exhale, that feels very good. Like, okay, it's all going. Many of us will breathe in more than we breathe out, and we need to exhale. I don't know why I almost said it. Exhale. Waiting to exhale. But there is when you exhale, it needs to be a full exhale, which sounds like a contradiction of terms, but you, or like an oxymoron, right? Yeah, you could be dealing with a Taurus, right? You could have Taurus in your chart, but that is that kind of like stubborn, determined energy, where it's like you can be very fixed. You can be very fixed in your cardinal energy, because if you are leading with fire, your cardinal energy, then your earth energy, which is your earth element, should be the leader. And then the modality is just like a supplement. So this is like your whole diet, and this is a supplement, but it's like you're just dealing with the supplement, then your diet could dwindle. that might make sense for somebody. You could be trying to like work on your diet or your own balance. Right? If you're dealing with sobriety, if you are releasing anything, you could be shifting your attachments around. You could still be like holding on to one thing, like you gain weight when you quit smoking because, you know, you're like, I gotta do something. There's oral fixation. And there, you could have an oral fixation as well, maybe with like the smoking, and maybe that's where that kind of, the talking, the mercurial energy, it's like it feels like there's a lot more going out. But because you're not, but because with breath work, if you're not exhaling completely, your inhales are only going to be like a half-life, right? They're not going to be a full inhale. There's still going to be some sediment from the old exhale that you did not allow yourself to really push out, right? That last, when you hit a plateau, it's like hitting a plateau with weight loss. Talking to someone who's going through that. The last 10, 20 pounds is the hardest to lose, right? Because it's like, you really have to do a different type of work. You have to really change up how you're doing it. So when you exhale, you wait, and most of us are rushing to inhale again because we feel a panic that, oh my gosh, I don't have any air in my lungs, I'm gonna die. But you exhale again, and exhale and tighten your diaphragm, like bring it all in and really expel everything so that you are able to wait in that moment. And that's what it's like when you wait in that space. That's where you find peace. That's the temperance. That's really where you can fortify your root chakra, where you're able to and maybe doing like a juice cleanse or something. I mean, anything with the root chakra or elimination, a cleanse is good. Whether that's with your diet, whether that's with social media, whether that's with the people and connections in your life, all around. Like you need to maybe do a whole cleanse, right? This Three of Cups here could be like your Holy Trinity, and you are going to just be celebrating with yourself. Maybe through the holidays, that's what you're going to be doing. You know, your birthday is probably around the holidays, right? It could be around the holidays. And so, yeah, you guys, during that single year, you guys would get hit with the loneliness a lot more, because when you know, are like Bridget Jones, drinking by yourself on your birthday or whatever, it can be a little bit depressing, right? If you don't like yourself, or if there's things that you haven't released, if there are shadows that creep up, it's like an uninvited guest. You're uninvited, an unfortunate slight. I got so taken off track, and then I just got like a hot flash, a wave of heat that came in and just kind of like went up my spine. My lip is sweating. So yeah, I got distracted with my own embarrassment or shyness, whatever. Tomato again. It's the same thing. So yeah, really doing the work where you are sitting in that place of feeling that perceived emptiness, that perceived lack, that perceived Five of Cups, right? That's where you find the balance to bring this joy and celebration. See, it's like, oh no, these are spilt, but guess what? You have the capacity to fill those cups up, and whatever was in them was probably not going to hydrate you, right? It wasn't going to be fulfilling. It was going to be superficial. It was going to be lower vibrational, right? Wine or something like that. It wasn't going to be, not that there's anything wrong with that, but if that is something that you know you have a issue with, right? Then then there is something wrong with that, right? Because it's not good for you. And it's dehydrating and it causes all kinds of issues, right? Yeah, there are antioxidants in it, but there's also antioxidants in fruit. So you could just have the fruit and do like a juice cleanse and maybe do like a sobriety bar. Maybe you're going to like a sobriety bar, or just doing like a mocktails at home to celebrate something, right? It could just be celebrating a Tuesday, it doesn't matter. You can do it yourself. Right? You can fill those cups, those seemingly empty cups, that perceived 5 of cups, that lack. You can fill it up with your own self-love, and that's such a quick general term, self-love, right? But self-love is really grace. It's having patience, and you get patience through temperance, right? Sitting in that empty space. So if you are purging your physical space, that feels very good, right? Marie Kondo, when you curate your space, when you cut out a bunch of friends, when you stop eating or drinking things that are bad for you, even if it's pop, like you stop drinking that and you start drinking water, you're like, wow, I feel really great. This is so great. It's very invigorating. You get kind of a rush and a high off of the purge. But when you sit with that emptiness, you look around your empty space and you go, oh, I really should put something over there. I should buy a thing for that. I should order a thing for this. Maybe I should do, remodel the whole place, or redecorate everything. Because you just want some kind of stimuli to avoid and distract and evade yourself from focusing on the redecorating that you need to do within, right? And if you are avoiding your emotions, like that King of Cups earlier at the bottom of the deck, right? If you are hiding from your own emotions, if you're hiding from gaining some sort of balance in your water energy, then this will be your greatest challenge, right? I mean, that's simply put. I feel very distracted right now. So, but sitting in that space is crucial. Temperance is how you get that patience, and it's also tapping into that angelic sense of divine connection. And you're not going to know where to take this leap of faith into if you don't have a divine connection, right? And maybe you had one and then you interacted with somebody, you thought it was your person, and it knocked you off that path, and it knocked you off of your faith a little bit, right? Knocked you off your rocker, drove you a little crazy, knocked you off the wagon, right? Maybe you fell off the wagon, maybe it triggered you in a way that you started indulging in some substances or behaviors, or both, that were not healthy for you, that you had stopped doing. You had cleaned those things out of your life. Yeah, we got the 7 of Cups. It's like when you start cleaning up your life and you have that space, there's opportunity for so many options. And this is really being discerning. See that fish there again with the moon face? Okay, we're just gonna look at it kind of fuzzy again, but that is kind of perfect because that moon is sort of blurry. Everything's a little dizzy, a little. I keep popping my ankle. I'm not farting, okay? But yeah, it's like, what picture do you want to draw? What truth do you want to tell? Because you have to adjust it every time that you are triggered, every time that you are challenged. Your shadows come up, new ones come up, old ones come up, and you're like, you're still here? Yeah, they're still there. They don't go anywhere. You just transmute them, you befriend them, you understand them, you give them grace and compassion. And you better know how to deal with them through shadow work, but you never get rid of them. They just change. Yeah, so we have the 2 of Wands, 2 of Swords, and the 7 of Swords. All right, So you have, anytime that you have a new opportunity, if you want a new opportunity, you're like, I'm sick of this old cycle. I thought this person was my person. They were not. I want somebody new. I want something fresh. I want what I asked for. Damn it. I've been waiting for it. I've been doing the work. Like, I don't know if I can do this any longer. This is really tough. Maybe you've been single for a long time, longer than a year, and you're like, a year? Yeah, I've been doing that. Like, but even if you were single for a couple years and then you triggered with a karmic, you may have to go back into that and go through the steps again. So you might be like, well, I was single for, 5 years before them, 4 years before them, and it's been a couple months, but I feel like I should still know everything from before I met them. Well, no, because they triggered you back into kind of, maybe not square one, but they definitely knocked you back in your faith. And if you're not feeling that connection with your faith, if you're triggered by nomenclature, if you're hot and cold, if you're impatient, if you're not giving yourself grace, if you're feeling very like time is on your heels here, and like you want to just come in, save somebody who has baggage. Baggage is not everybody has a past, it's not saying that if you have a kid, because there's a little kid in there, that's not necessarily baggage. I mean, if it is to you, if that's like a deal breaker for you, maybe it's not. Maybe you're okay being a step parent, or maybe you have a child, in which case you have to be extra meticulous about how you go about dating and attracting people into your life, platonic or romantic, because all of these people are going to influence your child, right? So you want to make sure that you're being protective over them, and that could be this Knight of Swords here, like just being very protective of your space. And if you don't feel like you are, if you feel like you're rushing into casual connections, or you have that sort of urgency, then that's the advice, is to come into this place of protecting yourself, protecting the work that you've done. Okay, so anytime that you have something new coming in, or you want something new, you're always going to have to deal with something old, right? And that's very much like the Marie Kondo method, curating your wardrobe, curating your space, your living environment. Does this spark joy? A lot of times, the best method is the one in, one out, right? If you, you need a new pair of jeans or something like that. Well, you may have to get the other ones out of there, right? And so this is going to be take this metaphorically or literally, okay? Because I just went through this. I just bought a pair of jeans that are down a couple sizes from my last ones, but I was reluctant to get a new pair because I was like, oh, I love these jeans. They were a pair of gold jeans. Gold, not gold. And so it's like I achieved that, and the fact that they had gotten too big still made me feel like it was kind of a reminder how far I had come. But they were not very functional because I was pulling them up all the time, and they were just a pain in the ass. Literally, not literally. I'm gonna pull them up a little too hard. But so they were not working for me, and I was reluctant to get rid of them because I was like, oh, what if I don't find a pair that fit? Also, I didn't want to shop for a new pair because it's like, shopping is a pain in the ass. It's tedious, and when your body is changing, right? So metaphorically speaking, when your mind is changing, once your desires are changing, when all of that's changing around you, it can be overwhelming to the idea of bringing somebody new into that space. So again, back to that energy I did not want to touch on, but I do feel like there is some past third-party energy in there that's still like stifling this process. I feel like that's the big impediment here. The moment that you get rid of the genes, the moment that you, not like get rid of your partner, but the moment that you get out of a connection, then you have space for them. Otherwise, then you find this new pair of jeans and you're like, oh, this fits, they're really cute, and they're new and shiny and all that. And then you bring them home and you have that old pair just sitting there. Now you're like, oh, now I have to do the work to get these out, but these are still so comfortable, and these are new, so I don't really want to tank these ones yet. Maybe I'll save these for a special occasion. Then you go through this whole thing back and forth where you are just like, I'll just keep both, right? I'll just have my cake and eat it too. And then you literally can, because you've got a pair of jeans that if you do eat too much cake, they're still available to you. There is a fear of the lack. What if I don't have that? What if I'm not good enough to continue on this path of weight loss, of shadow work, of staying the course, which is fixed energy? It's the determination, all right? Cardinal is the decision, mutable is the discernment, fixed is the discipline. That's the discipline of staying the course, right? Of staying in your faith, staying in your truth. And you're going to have the naysayers, you're going to have people coming in trying to distract you from that, and that's you just making sure that you are not listening to them. La la la, I know what I'm doing here. And other people are going to think that you're crazy. They're going to be like, why are you hanging upside down? You're going to jump off of that cliff? Are you sure? There's going to be a lot of people and energy within you and without of you that are going to try and bring you off of that path. I feel like it just got really bright in here, which is the sun energy, right? It's keeping you on that divine path toward the sun, right? Staying focused on the light, staying focused on your heart space. That's the heart chakra. Staying focused on that and not being distracted by secular and lower vibrational tendencies within yourself and temptations outside of yourself, right? Where was I going? So yeah, anytime something new, there's always going to be something from the past. Something's going to come in to try and tempt you, right? This is that fixed energy. This is, nope, I'm going with the new. That old one can stay bracketed right the fuck there, and it can stay to this tower. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to jump off of it into a whole new world. And my magic carpet's going to help me fly. A whole new world. Don't you dare close your eyes. 100,000. And then we have the Seven of Swords, right? Seven of Swords is, yeah, if you're looking back at the past, like maybe I should keep those old jeans, maybe I should keep that old partner. Like, what if I'm not good enough for this partner? I know this other partner, like maybe we've been in a connection together, they're comfortable, they're easy, they're familiar. I know I can always go back to them if I just keep them in my DMs, if I just keep them. No. I feel like your advice is for this new moon, is to eliminate all of that. Cut it out. Cut it out. And that's Full House as well. Cut it out. Pick one sword, damn it. Be discerning. If you want someone who's going to come in and be discerning, then you have to be disciplined, because discipline leads to discernment. Right? When you are sober from something completely, then you're not as tempted by it, and you can be more moderate. You can be more moderate with it. Right? Like if you've been single for a year, we got the Tower, the Page of Wands, the World, right? Which is all pictured in this one here. All right, jumping off that tower. It's going to be something new, so it's the Page. It's going to be new again. So you've got this King of Wands, but you're going to be the Page of Wands here. You're going to take that wand, you're going to jump off into a whole new world. Oh, that's a hell of a confirmation, right? The time is now. Take your leap of faith. release the past. Ace of Pentacles. I'll just flip over what's left because there's not much. It's all on the floor. Nine of Cups, right? This is independent, self-fulfilling, wish fulfillment. Cups, water, emotions, right? Being very balanced. See, they're kind of like fixed in their water energy, right? Scorpionic energy, right? Which you will get to if you allow death and rebirth to come in. Death is Scorpionic energy. The Tower is Scorpionic energy, and Aries is the Fool. Tower is Aries and Scorpio. And then we have the Ace of Pentacles twice. For there to be, what, 10 cards on the thing here? 2 of them are the Ace of Pentacles to confirm each other, and the Two of Cups is the last card. So, hopefully there was something in here for you. This was a hot mess. But such is life and such is love, and it can get messy. It's okay if it gets messy. You know, it's like when you were all made of the same ingredients, different recipes. It's like when you're doing shadow work and you're trying to find your recipe, your divine recipe, the kitchen can get a little messy. And that's okay, because you can clean it up. Yeah. So, yeah, I hope there's something here for you guys. Until next time, I wish you well.